this is representing the ancient land of the dove. So the ancient land of the dove, this is the prophecy in the processes of the coming of the new earth, right? It's a journey through our time. It's the journey of transformation, of enlightenment. It's the journey of going from a level 0 to a level 1 civilization. It's the process of the light fabrics, in which build the consciousness field for the realities to manifest themselves. And so basically, this one it was originally held in Australia. So let me go to this picture. Actually, I don't have, this one's not showing up for some reason. Okay, we'll go to this one. So this one it was originally held in Australia before it was hijacked. So the origination of it comes from Mu, and it comes from the Lemurian times, when these were ancient knowledges and wisdom that were held by the indigenous, the ancient Anangu people, the original seeded 24 chromosomal Pleiadians, and the serpent cults of this time. Like, they held the sacredness of the dove templating, the dove light matrices, right? It was in Australia before it was hijacked. And you can find the references to the original dove grids and the J.J. Hertek books, the Book of Knowledge, the Keys of Enoch. This system was brought forward, so to speak, under the Yahweh Father principle. Okay, but I want to make it clear that this doesn't belong to any human principle, technically, or any, even like, it belongs to the God source creator. It doesn't belong to any tainted or destructed or demonized human principle. It is an organic celestial light matrix free of ownership. Okay. To put this in perspective, let me see if I can find my other picture really quick here, because I feel like this is going to be important for just like reference. I haven't put it in the slide, so to speak, but maybe I can just upload it quickly here. But this is a version of, okay, let's see, let's set it as background. Okay, okay. Well, this is one that I channeled. So this is kind of the templating of the light matrices, free and clear, technically, of the hijacking globally, right? This is free and clear because it's already expanded out of the North Americas. This is me having channeled that regardless of the confinements of Australia and the US, so to speak, if that makes sense for you guys. So this is it not confined to any particular location. So it was originally in Australia, and then it moved into, they moved it into the United States, basically. So this is where it is here. And this is where it's gonna basically rebirth itself and expand to become this, fully embodied, planetarily speaking, if that kind of makes sense. So because it was kind of hijacked under this Yahweh Father principle, it's been running since the fall of man programming. This is kind of when it came in, or when it intercepted, and when it was installed. So when this was installed, they basically staged an invasion of the earth. That's what happened. This did run through the Elohim, the fallen Elohim, even the fallen Seraphi Elohai. Okay, it all came through because everything fell, technically, right? So now that's a programming in itself as well. This is another form of the archontic deception. But this led to the formation of what is considered the negative aliens, or the service to self races hybridized and disguised through those black nobility lines, through the Willy Wonka, through the monarchy, you name it. It was orchestrated by the invader race lines, basically, to prepare humanity to worship false idealizations of these particular gods, right? Such as Yahweh and Jehovah. This is where we get like all of the J seals, the Jehovah and Anunnaki. This is kind of this is what I mean about the God Wars, and like why this is coming up through the Saturn retrograde and the Orion Stargate activations. Is a lot of this is coming through to clear what has been perpetrated through deception, through archon deception, through human worship, satanic ritual abuse offerings, drinking the blood of things, sacrificing humans, babies, animals. This was really done under and through most of this through the eye of Yahweh or through the eye of Jehovah. They've manipulated light to create false holograms and run it through synthetic timelines, basically, to enforce all of the domination. This is just one of the ways it's come through. It's not all of it, but this is just one of the avenues in which has presented itself through mind control techniques, basically, and the development of dark matter. Basically, it's dark matter. But this is where they altered humanity's collective mind over generations, right? And erased things through continual consciousness wiping, through continual running of particle accelerators, through soul recycling, reincarnation harvesting, and matrix traps, right? They don't want you to know that there are organic matrix source field light templates, okay, that run the restoration living current of light through the globe, through the body, through where it will first emerge in the United States. This is deeply connected. What was done with this, the covering up of the dove and even the swan templates, there's other templates, the original mother grid, the original organic intelligence field, all of these things. They've tried to damage this through the Metatronic reversals, right? It's technically genetic damage because they're implants that are imposed into the DNA. So it runs genetic mutation and manipulation and damage. This is what the Lyran Wars were. And I don't know if we make that correlation or that association so much. We forget about that, right? So if someone says, I was a part of the fall of Lyra, my memories, my Akashic records, my gene code goes back to the fall of Lyra, they're basically saying, I was enslaved. I am a refugee race in line. I was basically my DNA was manipulated and altered, and there was the great separation also that occurred from Andromeda as well. So it was originally connected. The universal 12th gate sphere was originally connected to Andromeda, and when that separated, it brought in the fall of Lyra as well. So it's tied to really what I think locked in the bulk of the reversal codes in terms of the entire Milky Way and all of the planets, right? And when I had talked about seeing the enslavement codes running through all of the planets, right? It's all binded and connected. It all affected it affected the planetary war, essentially, that led to the distortions. So, and I think this was represented by the Yahweh systems. This in turn correlated to Saturn, the black cube matrix, and everything that was siphoning everything through this. So, yeah, it's a big deal with the Saturn retrograde because Saturn is the solar seventh gate in terms of what it's doing to us of our ascension and our individual processes on a bigger level of the planetaries energy, it's emitting the reverse violet rays plasma spectrum, distorting the light on the Earth. And we can see this now. We can see this because these organic systems are going to happen regardless. Like they're going to push through because it's just a part of the new Earth development. And these things have to be seen and the constructs ultimately have to collapse. What that has to collapse through this reversal violet ray spectrum is the impalement of the crucifixion implants. This is going to need to dissolve those entirely. Persecution, crucifixion, stigmata, and martyrdom. Okay, all along the planet's axial tonal lines, like a deeper cleansing of this. Also, this is going to work to collapse down black hole systems because black hole systems are powered by Saturn. So the Yahweh system ultimately connects back to the black hole system, originating from the black star of the center of our Milky Way, known as Abaddon. And this is why it all connects. It all connects. So really, this return to the North Americas of the dove, this is super significant. This is super significant because it means that the J-sail pylon network that runs on the north horizontal 30-degree ley line and 70-degree west, that those are working to be dissolved and decoded more. It's going to send a clearing through the original dove that was encoded to the motherlands of Mu and other Stargate systems such as Hydra, Sirius, and Cygnus as well. These templates will run a clearing through what was hijacked through those systems, holding the most ancient indigo records on the Earth, going back all the way to indigo Neanderthal. That's going to be released. Okay, that's going to come back through the initiation of the dove grid, and the dove is going to bring forward the swan templating to me. Now, this is significant for the US, okay, because the dove and 4th of July and what we're doing in terms of the grid clearing, this is held in America because America is a great focus of light for the global Earth refinement. So America represents the torchbearers, the people who hold the light for the rest of the world. America will be one of the first to experience the changes of the new Earth shifts, showing the rest of the world how to overcome darkness. The dove represents hope, freedom, prosperity, and liberation, moving from one age and shifting into the next. It represents the shift into the next. America was already this beacon. It already was that during the search for new land, okay, during the 1700s, 1600s, the British colonization, right? It was already that. America represented that in the times of past, guiding people away from the old. So America has always been the new Earth. America has always been the new land that represents hope, freedom, and future. And so as the dove expands, it will become this again on a bigger global stage of light. Thank you, Jim. Jim says this is important information. Like and share, guys. Thank you. Yes, share this out to your like-minded Ascension friends. Put a big like on this video. Comment in the chat, but also if you can, comment under the video as well. Leave a comment there just to support the content more. And be sure to subscribe, hit the notifications bell. You know, I'm always dropping, I think, very brain busting content. Let's just put it that way. I'm here to expand consciousness. Okay, whether I'm doing it linguistically, but I really focus on the expansion of consciousness through my language. It's one of my focuses and it's one of my purposes in terms of my mission work and how I go about doing it. So yeah, the content on my channel it's very expanded, but it's very in alignment to New Earth, as I do consider myself to be a vision holder of the New Earth. And so I love to break down these processes for you guys. But staying on the dove here, um, this this is it comes back up during tumultuous times, right? Saturn retrograde, maybe more of a tumultuous time for those that are on the descending timelines. You're gonna basically, you know, kick and scream to survive through that timeline, basically. But there are many zones of destruction and migration that have occurred in the planetary records, going all the way back to ancient Lemuria. So the emergence and the resurface of the dove grid will clear a lot of the original Dark Brotherhood takeovers that led to the original hybridization traumas, forced breeding programs, sterilization programs, tearing apart of the fifth dimensional souls, twin flames, 144,000 displacement, the oppression of the matriarchal tribes and timelines as well. Basically, the demonization of Hydra, the genocide of the descendants of Mu, and the horrific atrocities that the Lemurians also faced, and the demonizing again of the serpent cults that led to widespread suffering. So that it's like all these old things kind of the records are returned, and then the clearing and the dissolving happens through the dove. And it's also going to clear the artificial time warps that are placed in the third and fourth dimensional fields. It's also going to dissolve a lot of the galactic web karma, because a lot of people don't know, but basically a lot of this was hijacked by the Galactic Federation and things like this. Um, they've kind of twisted the meanings of these things, um, especially through just the propaganda that they push. It was incepted through, I think, crucifixion wounds. Crucifixion wounds and implants were also incepted through the Galactic Federation because of the way that they play out the continued karma into the galactic web. So it's going to break down and dissolve the galactic contention and warfare, and it's going to help people to see that galactic consciousness is peaceful coexistence. So that's what gets upgraded. And the human hybrid traumas are what have twisted the meanings of these things, incepting human dramas into cosmic history. So that also needs and has to dissolve. For instance, the galactic Orion invasion that has fallen in the 3D and 4D artificial time warps. So this is like stuck in a loop cycle, basically. And this will assist with the opening of the Earth chambers to shift the dove consciousness to the Americas for the dove grid awakening. Right? Do you see how Orion's so connected to this? So yeah, hence why this is a powerful Orion Stargate awakening at this time, aligned with the Saturn retrograde. I think it's just a beautiful opportunity to really collapse down what's negative, tainted, and corrupted. So it's time to reclaim the dove grid, you guys. It's time to restore peace and spread freedom codes across the earth. And it's all very exciting. Uh, I want to talk about, so let me get over to my map. Actually, you know what? I have one more thing I want to show you with this one. So let's talk a little bit really quickly too about when we talk about the US grid clearing that we're going to be working on. We have to know where stuff came from, right? For us to like clear the energy. The British are the ones who brought forth the Draconian taxation tyranny. Okay, this came through the Brits, that began with the earned profits on colonial trade. So when they all came over here, I feel like that in itself is a dirty truth that we don't want to look at, that our federal systems basically are US systems. They're built upon the previous organizations of the United Kingdom. The United States, this is a why do you think we're called the United States? The United Kingdom, United States. I mean, we are like it's like I kind of like they it's kind of like we're like a clone, like a sub, even though we are like our own independence, like we still have we still incorporated their draconic law. So we incorporated their draconic taxation. I think it's a dirty truth we just don't want to look at, but we didn't like invent our own. Let's just put it this way. And so everything that we have to clear in terms of the monetary system and everything that has to change, um, we have to understand that it's because of the monarchy royalty bloodline. Okay. And it's connected to the albino reptilian draconic line. And I think it's very obvious. I mean, this picture here, this is the coat of arms of the House of Wessex, also known as the House of Cerdic, the House of the West Saxons, and the Welsh, and the red. And this one's blue dragons, but there's also white dragon lines. So this is red and blue. I think the red and the white would be these would be factions of the Draco reptilian bloodlines, essentially. So I think we're watching all of this play out, right, through the bloodlines in which we're still connected to in terms of the systems in which are governing our collective here. And I mean, we can only verify this even more. We've talked about the forced breeder programs playing out right in front of us, right? Through Princess Diana and Princess Kate Middleton. You know, these are the most severe forced breeder programs we've ever seen play out because they're literally disposing of the mothers. I mean, this is classic Draco reptilian behavior. There's so much pointing to them with being of these lines. This is what I mean about accountability and responsibility, with understanding that the colonization trauma that we've acquired has directly come through Alpha Draco reptilian bloodlines that have established our Willy Wonka, okay, and the taxation system, right? That in itself, taxation goes against natural law. This is some stuff that was broken down to me the other day, and I'll probably slaughter it trying to break it down to you guys. But as I'm like rubbing my pineal here, I'm like, help me talk about this. Um, the natural law is any sort, or like it's an act against natural law because any sort of act against taking somebody else's like life resource energy, taking somebody else's earnings is theft. It's technically theft. And theft is one of the main um acts against divine will. Like it's literally acts against God. It's literally acts against natural order and natural law in terms of like well-being of life force energy, right? So the taxation system goes against these things. This is why it's so twisted. It's so twisted when it comes to the draconian law and how it's been built in to make you believe that these things are there to support us, but it's actually there to feed off of us. So there's again the deception, and this is what is dissolving essentially. So I just wanted to bring this up. I felt like this was something that was relative to truths that will come forward as we activate more of the dove grid. And also, one thing that we'll be using for the grid work is the crystal wheel technology. So this was something I wanted to bring up with you guys as well, was I don't have any pictures of this, but in the grid work, we're going to be utilizing crystal wheel technology. This was something that has been being given to me by a friend who has a connection with some of the people who actually developed them. It's a technology that was from the Atlantean time, and they're developing it in Germany, basically. And this is crystal wheel technology, and this is where we can run clearings through the use of crystal power. It's a form of free energy, and it activates the crystal wheels to, I guess, clear the timelines and clear the manifestation fields that are around something particularly. So we're getting more downloads at this time about Atlantean crystal tech and how to utilize it. So this is another cool thing we'll be bringing in for the grid work. Okay, so let's just go to my charted map. There she is. There's the beautiful United States. I am just in love with this map right now. It just has so many awesome things on here to talk about. Indy got that natty law. Thanks, Theo. It is something I want to start um, learning more about. Uh, Gosh, I seen an interview on, gosh, well, I think it was Decentralized TV. Does anyone watch Decentralized TV on Brighteon.com? But they had Mark Passio on their channel as a guest, and I've never like listened to him before, but I got stuck on it the other night, and he was talking about natural law. He's broken down. I guess he has this whole thing he's decoded with natural law. So I might look into some of more of his research. But it seemed to be, you know, he was the one making some of these points essentially. Okay, so what I've picked up on, let's just look at the United States here. Let's tune into this. So I put a little star on Houston because I'm going to be going to Houston for the grid work. We're going to be doing it live from Houston. And this ley line here is pretty significant. That's running all the way over to Basra, Iraq. Let me just tune out so you can see this here. So from Houston, there is a horizontal ley line that's running all the way to Basra, Iraq. And this is significant because it's a sister city, essentially, to Houston, Texas. So sister cities mean that they share the same horizontal ley line, which is significant because Basra, Iraq, is the economic capital of Iraq. So this means that all of the Middle Eastern oil, okay, and the finances, the dark money that's rolling through the corrupted money, all of this is basically running through the economic capital of Basra, Iraq. That prioritizes that monetary values of oil and gas and wealth. It's located next to Stargate 10 in Abadan, Iran. So I'll just zoom in a little bit here so you can see this. Basically, yeah, it's not too far off. The Abadan Iran Stargate sits on the Iran border, and they're like literally right next to each other. So that means that this grid clearing, this US grid clearing that we're doing, we're going to be really working to clear the 29th and the 30th parallel. It's just below the 33rd. And it makes sense that most of the chaos, destruction codes, and corruption would hang on for dear life right below the 33rd parallel, right? This Stargate is ruled by the futile Odedicron reptilian Orions. Okay. And so from the anchor point in Houston, we can really work to clear the most blocked Orion Stargate on the planet. We can clear this in accordance to it being the sister city. And we can clear this and the influence that it has in terms of that financial corruption on the United States. And we can clear the weighted higher chakra on Earth, the blocked oversoul star chakra in the planet, bearing the grief of the ancestral degradation in the familial bloodlines of the reptilian, Orion, Anunnaki kinds and creeds. So this really is going to activate and bring up some compassion codes, because the clearing does actually have to clear through those reptilian, Orion, Anunnaki bloodlines. We have to clear it through the bloodlines, because that's where the ancestral war lies, according to that Stargate and according to the oversoul of the planet. Releasing the black goo, releasing the reversed violet ray spectrum from the Saturnian karma and how it's affecting the rest of the globe. So this is going to be, I think, a really significant aspect in the US grid work that we do to clear this ley line. Also, the Sarasota Stargate as well just sits like a little bit below that parallel. Even the Bermuda and the Bimini Islands, right? All of this down here, all of these major Stargate systems. So we think about the contention zone of the planet, the destruction zone on the planet. Like this would be really within the thick of a lot of that. Okay. And these are the Stargates that would be powered and affected by it technically. But what's kind of occurring in the United States according to the new Earth evolving, and I'll explain what these yellow stars are all over the US here, is the process of how this actually happens, right? So new Earth will begin to emerge. The activation of the dove grid and the light grid, that's kind of like the base fabric to all of this. Then it's going to go through processes of activating certain mechanics within the land consciousness, within the mantle, within the vortices and gateways and passageways that will bring forth power generators to assist the growth. So new Earth emerging will also come from the 12 satellite sun disks in the North America. The new Earth events and prophecies that may happen to signal the activation of these sun disks will be seen by a series of events of prophecies that will also occur as well. One of the potentials is that we may see fire that is burning in the heavens. So we literally look up to the celestial firmament and we'll see fire. Another thing that might occur is a meteor shower that would occur simultaneously all over the world. These are all prophetic signals that the shifts are coming. They do have like an Armageddon like templating to it, but it's all a part of the Terra reformation process, because some geological upheaval will occur that will shift the activations of these things going into the future. This is 12,000 CE prophecy. Another thing that may occur is that there could be a fireball that hits the planet. And if this occurs, it's predicted according to prophecy to hit North America, right? Signaling change. Like North America is where it will all ratify, rectify, and happen, basically, where the prophecy will ignite itself. So this would strike somewhere in Nevada is where it's predicted to happen, somewhere in Nevada. And then that forth would bring forth things that would continue to activate those disks in the land that would emerge the new Earth in the 12 satellite sun disks in the North America. So these are charted below. Now, the largest one and where it would initiate, would initially be Mount Pinnacle in Arkansas, which is this one here. So kind of at the center of it for the 12 sun disks, as it would initiate here. This is significant. This one, and these ones are kind of like the heart of the emergence of the dove grid field, basically. I'm going to explain. These ones are golden light cities that will emerge, and this one is the golden heart activation that occurs where the dove ignites, basically. Now, this synchronistically is sitting on the vertical ley line that goes down to Houston. This heart is where the dove expands out of America, basically. This is where the dove like premieres itself, where it like the light grid initially expands. So, but it starts with the Pinnacle Mount in Arkansas. Okay, and so each one of these stars here are representing where these 12 sun disks are located. There is one in Hawaii. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Okay, there's one in Hawaii, there's one in Denali, Alaska, there's one in Lake O'Hara, BC, Canada, there's one in Mount Shasta, Needle Rock, Colorado, Chichen Itza, Yucatan in Mexico, Monte Alban in Mexico, offshore also in the Gulf of Mexico near Galveston, next to the Texas Trio Pyramid Complex, the Bimini Islands. I also feel Bermuda Triangle is in this as well, but I just don't have it. It's marked as like a dark one here, but I do think it's also connected as a sun disk. We also have Asheville, North Carolina, Herkimer, New York, and Grosse Morne, Newfoundland, and Canada. Now, I did not channel these myself. I just charted them, but these locations were channeled by a guy named James Tiberone. And also this information was provided to me through Missy Hill. So thank you so much, Missy, for giving me all of this, which, by the way, Missy Hill will join me live on the 4th of July. After the US grid clearing gridwork mission that we do, we're going to kind of jump on and have a beautiful sister roundtable discussing US history and just everything that kind of came through in the grid work. So be sure to join me on 4th of July, 2 p.m. CDT for that live. Set your reminder, put a like on the video, do all the stuff and just come join me because we're going to kind of get into what energies are connected to all this as we explore this a little bit deeper in the gridwork mission itself. But essentially, so after these 12 sun disks activate in terms of prophecy, we'll then go into the locations of the golden cities that emerge in the United States. So the next phase of this would be the golden light cities, which are all charted here in these locations. And the golden light cities are in accordance to Lori Adele Toy's work from her IamAmerica.com maps, which she charted the locations of the 5 prophesized golden light cities that will emerge in the United States. So they're in locations as Montana, Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, and Georgia. So the 12 sun disks are definitely connected to the emergence of the golden light cities. And each one of these golden light cities, these will be cities that basically they have specific spiritual attributes. Each one of them has very profound, sacred spiritual virtues in which they will imbue to the collective that emerge from the United States. And these attributes will form the soul heart identity of the new earth race lineages that reside here. So the teachers in the cathedrals of learning within the golden light cities will impart these attributes to people who are of new earth consciousness. And those seeking to embody a particular spiritual attribute, they'll have to travel to these light cities that are corresponding those attributes in the golden light cities to retrieve the codes. So at some point, Montana, Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, and Georgia, they're going to become power stations of New Earth that represent the building of the coming of these timelines. Okay, and so it's going to be a lot that's happening, but I mean, this is all coming forward because the dove is activating. So those of you who are vision holders, we're going to be getting more clarity as to these truths, as to what's occurring, as to what's coming forward, and how the mechanical processes are beginning to unfold, essentially. Again, I couldn't explain to you guys why I was being guided to go to Houston, Texas. It was so sudden. It was very sudden. Essentially, I got the call and it was just like, do you want to come to Houston? And I was like, sure. So I'm getting moved over there, and it's to essentially activate this particular ley line, which at the heart of this, let's see, we're right in Kansas City. So the expansion of the dove is going to emerge right around Kansas City. Okay, and you can see how this then is going to activate these golden light cities here that begin the expansion. Now, this is all future though. Everything we're doing in terms of this US grid clearing is going into the future timelines of 12,000 CE, because these processes, it's like we are fortifying the passageways of these timelines and realities to usher them in, basically, for the new age and for the new earth transformation to occur. Isaac says, wait, are you moving to Houston, Texas? I thought you were visiting for Gridwork. No, I'm just visiting for Gridwork. Yeah. I'm going for about 4 days, a quick drive. Arkansas. Yes, Arkansas is going to be, this is going to be the main solar sun disk. This is going to be the largest one. This is actually sitting on, it's called Mount Pinnacle. Mount Pinnacle. I actually have a picture of it. This is where the first and largest sun disk will basically emerge from underneath this mountain. I seen some pictures of it earlier and they're not on here, but basically, if you had like X-ray vision or holographic vision, you can actually see the sun disk up underneath this mount. It's literally like a circular sun disk. It's huge. It's very radiant and vibrant, and it contains copper metals. It contains like radiant, just like radiant alchemical compositions, meteorite type and solar-based compositions that activate the templating to run up underneath. So that is here. And this is where the first sun disk basically will manifest itself, and then it's going to run through all of the other 12 points. So that's what all of these other stars are here. Yeah, we have them all charted here. Pinnacle being the first one, then Kauai as well. Again, and hence the Gridwork remote mission that we're doing down in Kauai, why it's so important. It's a part of this new Earth activation, which we're still enrolling till the second week of July. So if you are going to attend that mission with us, you want to submit your enrollment and registration basically now. Now is the time. Also, we have Denali as well. Where's this one at? This one is in Alaska. Lake O'Hara. This one is Mount Shasta, Needle Rock, Chichen Itza in the Yucatan, Monte Alban in Mexico. This one's sitting under an ancient city. This one is amazing, like incredible. This one is the Galveston in the Gulf, Bimini Islands, also the Bermuda Triangle, Asheville, North Carolina, Herkimer, New York, Gros Morne in Canada. And then we have from there, then it activates the Golden Cities. So then it's a Golden City activation all the way around. I think that the Sarasota Stargate in Florida will also power the Dove grid to manifest itself. So there is definitely a lot of energy. Oops, my line just came in. Let's delete that. Basically, the energy is probably going to run up like this. So that Stargate's going to activate. It's going to activate the awakening point of the Dove. And it's also going to run energy into this point in Houston. And that's also going to run this energy up to the point of the Dove as well. So it's it's a huge new earth system that's happening, right? I think you have to use a lot of your visualization and the imagery of your mind to be able to see the full picture of this. But those of you who are on that new earth visionary quest, I know you're going to get this and understand these processes that are occurring. Yeah, and Evie says run energy through the star forts as well. The star warts. um, it's right. Well, there is a lot of clearing energetically that has to come off of the star forts, basically, because in terms of US history, I think a lot of the war contention in terms of one of the most bloodiest wars that actually occurred here initially before the Draconian law and taxation basically came upon the US was the 7-Year War. I think it was the bloodiest war that we've ever seen on the US lands, was the 7-Year War that happened between the French and the Indian. And this is one thing that, in terms of trauma and colonization pain, where we have to focus in terms of the star forts to clear the energy off and out of the star forts. Because a lot of these star forts were initially made and designed to um, they were they were defense systems. When we talk about spiritual planetary defense systems, the star forts are a network of defense systems. So they hold all of the defensive energy of having to protect ourselves from war, genocide, slaughter, colonization. So all of the trauma is technically held in the star forts in terms of war codes running in the US. So yeah, that's one thing that will need to be cleared in terms of the expansion of the dove, according to the US Gridwork clearing, according to the 12 solar discs that we're going to be activating, according to the 5 golden cities of light that will be activated in the US, all of that. And all of the star forts, I mean, there's like 9 or 10 of them that are all along, even where I'm located, there's a star fort, maybe like 15 minutes from where I'm located down in Fort Pickens. And then they go all the way over to Texas, technically. So we have to, yeah, clear the really, truly, I think the mission of clearing the US grids, this is just the beginning of it. I think it started with the trip to Washington, D.C. Every 4th of July, it's more deeper work for us to do as grid workers, to work, especially when ceremonial ritual times like holidays initiate and reactivate the trauma wounds to come back up and play through. Not only, again, satanic harvest and looshing that they're doing on the collective, that they're um, reaping, negatively reaping into the Abaddon ley line and gate system on the Archangel Michael ley line. But, you know, they could be reaping through the Orion stargates as well. It's just a matter of, we know that the Orion stargates are clearing and they're bringing forward these truths for us to see them. So we have to clear and work through the Orion stargates, knowing that that one in Abaddon, Iran is the most blocked. I think if we focus at the source of the detriment, okay, we can focus on all of the other things that have to be cleared and healed, which is important, but we have to also go to the blocked source. So can we sign up for the 4th of July day? If anyone can drop down in the comments the link for the 4th of July mission, yes, there is a small $44 fee, and that is to it's kind of like the container and the facilitator fee, basically. And that's for, or you can join on my Patreon as well. Patreon.com/IndigoAngel. So the membership deal is actually better because it's $11.11 to join. Or I offer the one-time drop-in as well. But that's for the time and the energy and the organization around this, because all of this has been thoroughly, you know, basically put together. So we're doing everything in accordance to New Earth alignment. And all of that has taken a lot of my time and work and effort to bring forward this perfected mission that we can really, I think, make the biggest difference. And these sessions are long. I mean, this is a 3-hour session. You guys are locked in with me for 3 hours. Basically, yes. So I hope to see you there. Even if you don't have grid work experience, I think you very quickly find out how you can contribute to the work. And I think you very quickly align with the process of grid work. If you're not familiar with grid work, I do have a um, grid work facilitation course 1 and 2 that I offer that also teaches if you feel unsure and you want to learn more about grid working before you participate. But honestly, you don't have to do that before you participate. I would say within 2 to 3 grid work remote sessions, you very quickly get up to speed to understand the processes of everything that's implied in it, right? It also significantly enhances your psychic abilities as you do group work, container work, remote mission work, remote viewing work in a shared collective mind field and a collective container. It upgrades your abilities like significantly very quickly. Also, when you align to other people's fields that have very expanded psychic abilities, it turns all of yours on immediately just from aligning to that person's field. So that's kind of what you're getting in the experience itself as well. There's a lot of benefits to this. I could go through a whole list of them, but it's extremely beneficial for the advancing starseed, for the advancing grid worker, right? So, yeah. And another thing that's really interesting about all this as well is the after hours roundtable live that we're doing. With 2 divine sisters that are located in Virginia and South Carolina. So this is actually very significant as Virginia was one of the first states, I believe, that um, was colonized. It was the first state of the 13 original colonies, Virginia was. I'm just going back up to, I'm just looking on my computer here for a second. So yeah, it's significant because on that roundtable, one of the sisters is going to be from Virginia. One of my other sisters is from South Carolina. Both of these states are really important to that seal system that I told you is running there. There's a seal system from DC to Virginia to South Carolina that has to be cleared in terms of the Freemason hold and control, right? Because everything was established under Freemasonry. Okay, and it's significant because the seal system is in Arlington and Charleston. And it's basically anchoring the Freemason energy into the Masonic, because the first Masonic Scottish Rite and Lodge was founded in Charleston. And also in Virginia. This was the beginning of it and the control of it over our money system. This is when the black magic spells basically began in the US. And so we basically have to clear that seal system and clear the dark monetary system around that as well. So it's going to be interesting, everything that comes up. I'm excited so much to share. I'm excited to dive into the work. I'm excited for 4th of July. It's going to be a big day for all of us. And just know that I love you all so much. I can't wait to dive in. And I'll see you on the 4th. So have a beautiful everything, you guys. Namaste. I love you all so much and take care.